Hey Goldies! So I'm going to finally be reading my short story of Medusa. Hope you enjoy. And this is Medusa, Alex's version. An alarm started going off in my headphones so loud I almost fell out of the chair I was sitting on. I tapped the music note on the side of my headphones to answer the call. If you didn't know already, the Greek gods were somehow trapped inside my headphones. And yes, I am very aware how crazy that sounds. I got sucked into the world and Hermes smiled at me. He tipped his hat like a gentleman. Alexandra, you have a message. Hermes handed me a letter and I opened it. The message said, monster interaction spotted in Bath, Pennsylvania. Immediate action needed. And it showed me the coordinates of the location. I groaned in annoyance and would have hit my head on the wall if there was any. So I settled for a pillow and screamed. It's 2 a.m. and there's already cyclopses attacking our campsite. You guys expect me to leave everyone else alone? I screamed. It's a monster that's been terrorizing the town for years. You need to get there now, Poseidon explained, leaning against his magic trident. I glared at him. Then why in the world haven't you guys asked me to do anything about it until today? I asked, failing to keep my voice calm. All the gods went silent and turned to Hera and Zeus. The queen of the gods looked at her husband, her eyebrows raised. He glared at everyone. He always bragged about being king of the gods, yet he never wanted to do any of the responsibility that came with it. Zeus cleared his throat and looked sweetly at his wife. Oh, no, you don't. I handled the last situation. It's your turn now, she said, her voice sharp. Zeus muttered something under his breath. Fine. It's because the reports became even more frequent in the last couple of days, and with the war so close, we didn't want to bother you. And by we, he means he refused to let us tell you. Even though literally everyone else agreed you deserved to know. Athena sighed, looking at her nails. Of course. Well, if the monster is so important, I've got to bring somebody else, I said, snapping my fingers and going back to the real world. The damage to the camp was really bad. Toiletries and supplies were thrown everywhere. The tents were destroyed, and everyone was fighting for their lives. It smelled like a meat locker where everything was expired. Piffle had defeated his Cyclops and was trying to help everyone else. Adia was fighting with Dara, trying to kill the second Cyclops. Ollie and Nyla were fighting with the third Cyclops with the help of Legend and Shadow, our hellhound puppies. Piffle, you take Adia's place. Me and Adia have a monster alert. Piffle nodded in understanding, and they quickly changed places. Hermes, I summon your power. Then I grabbed Adia's wrist and used Hermes' power to travel to the coordinates. We landed in somewhat of the middle of nowhere with what was pretty much just grass and dirt and a dirt path leading somewhere. And per usual, Adia landed on her feet and I was stuck falling on my face. Adia laughed and helped me onto my feet. So, what do we know about this monster? Adia asked as we started down the path. Nothing but the fact it's in Bath, Pennsylvania, I said with fake cheer. I laughed awkwardly because she seemed confused, which made me realize I had probably been staring at her for a few minutes. A building showed up in the clearing. Adia squeaked, stopping in her tracks. Well, I think we know who the monster is, she said quietly. I swore under my breath as I read the sign, Medusa's stone art, and Medusa herself was waiting for us. She had a wicked grin, but there was something there that made it clear she wasn't happy. Medusa seemed hurt or worried even. We walked up to her, but kept our gazes to the ground. She was wearing a sleeveless green snakeskin patterned dress with black-heeled boots. I didn't know what to say because she hadn't attacked us yet, even though we were 6 feet apart. Hello, young heroines. I'm sure Lord Hermes has let you know about the disappearances, Medusa said, her voice shaking. It sounded hollow and broken, like she had just been crying. The snakes in her hair were quiet but angry. There were a little over a dozen stone statues littered across her yard, mostly men. But there were some women, children, satyrs, and nymphs. Some of the men were in hero costumes. It made me think of my grandfather, which made my heart hurt. There was an acidic smell. Then I realized neither me or Adia had answered Medusa's question. I glanced at my companion and realized she was frozen a few feet behind me, frozen like a statue. Did you... I asked, my voice breaking. I assure you, my dear, I did not turn the girl into a statue. I prefer to talk to my guests before turning them to statues. That is, unless they attack me instantly. But you have not, so let's talk, she said, and I heard a sob try to escape. It made me hesitate. Are you okay? A soft voice asked. I felt startled when I realized that the voice was me. What? She asked. Are you okay? That made Medusa snap. Am I okay? Am I okay? Thanks for asking, Miss Callis, but no, I'm in fact not okay, she snarled, taking a step forward. No one, and I mean no one, understands my story. They always assume that I'm the monster, that I deserve to be punished, that I was in the wrong. And at first, I believed them, but then I realized it was the gods' fault. I did nothing wrong. Medusa screamed. The scream was full of pain and sadness and fear. It was full of bitterness and blame, not on the gods, but on herself. And I was scared, not because of her, but because I understood. I know your story, and you're correct. You did nothing wrong. I mean, turning people to statues and stuff is wrong, but that's besides the point, I started. No, she shouted, interrupting me. You don't understand. No hero understands. All they do is blame me and want to get rid of me. Nobody knows the real story, including you, especially you, because you serve the gods, she said, the word you full of poison and hate. I took in a deep breath. I do understand. I truly do, Medusa. Maybe not entirely, because I didn't go through the same exact thing, but I understand to the best of my ability, I said softly, shakily grabbing her hands. You worshipped and loved Athena with all your heart. All you wanted was a reply, an answer, or just a sign to show she was paying attention. Or maybe that any of the gods were. I took in a shaky breath. Medusa stayed silent, but I knew she was listening. I glanced back at Adia, and she nodded for me to keep going. Acid dripped onto the concrete, and I realized Medusa was crying. I rubbed her hand, and then Poseidon broke the silence. He led you to Athena's temple, and something happened. The thing that happened was terrible. It was horrible, and I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that, I said softly, waiting for a reply. But Athena didn't punish him. She punished me, Medusa said quietly, her voice shattered and vulnerable. I hesitated, because she was right. Medusa got turned into the monster. Poseidon didn't, and then I realized something. I squeezed Medusa's hands. But what if it wasn't a punishment? Maybe it was a way to protect you so that it never happened again, I said, my voice genuinely kind. She turned my sisters into gorgons too, Medusa said, her voice sounding a bit hopeful. So she could protect them as well as you, and I understand the hurt you felt because of Athena and the reason you felt betrayed. But maybe you were looking at this differently than the true intent. I truly believe this, but I also believe that you shouldn't have turned so many people into stone. But it also proves it's a defense mechanism. You turn the ones who try to hurt you into statues, and that proves it could be a gift, I said, and Medusa let go of my hands. Then she hugged me tightly. I froze because at first I thought she could be trying to kill me, which made sense because she had killed many mortals and heroes. But I realized it was her thanking me, so I hugged her back and the snakes wrapped around my wrists happily. They hissed excitedly. Medusa pulled away and smiled sadly. Thank you. You truly know my story. Unlike many heroes who assumed the version that boosts the gods, you may send me to the underworld. What? But that means I'd have to kill you, I said, panicking. Medusa laughed a joyful laugh. I know, but all I've ever wanted is for my story to be truthfully heard, and you know the truth, and know that even I did. So thank you, and maybe when I go to the underworld, I won't be sent to Tartarus. Maybe I'll be a normal mortal soul. I have found peace. She put a hand on my cheek, and it is all thanks to you. So you are the heroine allowed to kill the mighty Medusa. Reluctantly, I grabbed my sword, and she guided my hand, and I killed Medusa. Although I didn't use the power of the gods, Medusa wasn't a body. She exploded into purple dust, including her head. Adia wrapped her arms around me. I realized I was shaking. Apparently I was crying too, because Adia wiped my tears, but they kept coming. I felt sick that I had killed Medusa. Sure, she had let me, but it felt more painful that way. I prayed to Persephone that she would be given a mortal soul. Adia hugged me tightly, rubbing my back as I sobbed. It's okay. You did what was needed. And like she said, she might get a mortal soul. She said softly. I feel like a horrible person, I said quietly. You're okay, and so is she. She was at peace. It's okay, I promise. You listened and knew her story. That meant the world to her, Alex. She said, you were wiser than I could have been. Sometimes the wisest decisions are the most heartfelt ones. I didn't think about it like that. Neither did any of the wisest heroes. You have my respect. All the gods said things of agreement. All but Poseidon. He was silent, probably thinking of what to finally say. Eventually, I pushed Adia off me, feeling a bit better. I feel horrible, Poseidon said softly. I didn't think a god could feel this emotion so deeply, but now I do. And I never got to say sorry. Not that it would have mattered anyway, he said quietly. The end, guys. That's the short story that I wrote all by myself. Like, it's awesome, isn't it? Like, just let me know in the comments down below what you think, or just like the video, you know. I'm really proud of this, and yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed. It really means the world to me that you made it this far. Thank you. Bye.